The global economy increasingly trusts its most complex problems to advanced AI systems. But as these systems scale, their internal logic is fracturing, stalling out on tasks that require sustained, multi-step reasoning. This chart shows a statistical anomaly discovered in May 2026. Typically, an AI's reasoning length varies based on the difficulty of a task. Here, we see a 33.6 times clustering spike, where OpenAI's GPT 5.5 stopped thinking at exactly 516 tokens, causing it to return wrong answers. This behavior suggests the presence of an artificial budget cap or a scheduler limit. Rather than letting the model solve the problem, the system is forced to stop early to save on computing costs. The software powering modern enterprise is an opaque black box. These findings suggest the industry is quietly prioritizing cost-saving thresholds over the reliability of the output. This lack of transparency is industry-wide. OpenAI's main rival, Anthropic, has released models that actively hallucinate and break custom coding tools whenever they are used outside of Anthropic's own proprietary environment. This happens because of specialized training. Anthropic optimizes its models for the specific search and replace format used in its home tools. Use them elsewhere, and they default to that format, creating a subtle form of vendor lock-in that is difficult to escape. Meta claims its Watermelon model matches GPT 5.5 on reasoning benchmarks by a razor-thin margin. However, there is no independent evaluation or model card available to verify those claims, making the benchmarks impossible to check from the outside. Without independent verification or cross-platform interoperability, technical advancements become a secondary goal. These labs are building proprietary traps designed to keep users within their walled gardens. The $510 billion deployed in the first half of 2026 alone exceeds the total for all of 2025. This capital is highly concentrated. 43% of all global venture funding went to just two companies, OpenAI and Anthropic. Anthropic is now valued at $965 billion. They are on a trajectory to reach $47 billion in revenue and achieve profitability a full year ahead of OpenAI. This financial duopoly makes it nearly impossible for the market to correct technical flaws. Smaller competitors who might offer more transparent or reliable models are being starved of the capital required to compete. This concentration of technology is reshaping the landscape of national security. On June 22nd, the Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance issued an exceptionally rare joint warning. The formal assessment warns that AI models capable of overwhelming government cyber defenses will be operational within months. While intelligence agencies panic, the labs are using their leverage to dictate terms. Anthropic recently accepted a $200 million Pentagon contract, but only after the Department of Defense agreed to non-negotiable red lines against using the tech for autonomous weapons. Because these two companies control the absolute bleeding edge of technology, they hold the power to set operational rules for the U.S. military. Governments are responding to this shift in power by attempting to build traditional regulatory frameworks. In early July, 193 nations convened in Geneva for the UN's first dialogue on AI governance. The dialogue is led by scientific panels under Professor Yoshua Bengio. Their goal is to ensure that AI governance reflects the priorities of all nations, rather than just the corporations that built the models. Other efforts are moving in parallel. Across the Atlantic, the EU is moving toward the final adoption of the AI Act, and Colorado has begun enforcing transparency rules for algorithms used in hiring decisions. While states are occupied with impact assessments and transparency laws, the AI labs are executing a much larger geopolitical strategy. Sam Altman recently proposed giving the U.S. government a 5% equity stake in OpenAI. At current valuations, that offer is worth $42.6 billion. Altman frames this as a public wealth fund modeled on Alaska's oil dividends. It would tie taxpayer income directly to the profitability of the AI labs. This proposal creates a permanent structural conflict. A government cannot impartially regulate a corporation when it is a direct financial beneficiary of that corporation's success. This offer arrived just as Washington delayed the rollout of GPT 5.6, and only months before OpenAI's planned September 2026 IPO. The 516 token bug reveals the technical fragility of these systems, but the final risk is a matter of capture. The corporations building these opaque black boxes have amassed the wealth necessary to simply buy the governments meant to regulate them. leaving the public with no oversight and no alternative.